This presentation is the comparison between Central Park and Prospect Park and the lectures that are relevant to our discussion. Prospect Park was designed by Frederick Law Olmsted and Calvert Vaux in 1866. Olmsted wanted to create pastoral ideals as expressed in paintings. Different areas of the park are connected and brought together by a carefully placed system of rides, drives, and circulation paths. The plan includes 3 distinct regions, one being a region of open meadow with large trees, the second is a hilly district with groves and shrubbery, and the third is a lake district with picturesque shores and islands. The development of Prospect Park is a key in history that includes wars, the onset of the industrial age, and the transference of the population from rural to urban areas. Prospect Park has played a major role in the growth, decline, and renewal of Brooklyn. It is 585 acres in size, centrally located in the heart of Brooklyn, New York. Buildings to note are the Boathouse, the Tennis House, the Lefferts House, and the Concert Grove Pavilion. Monuments of note are the Column and Polygonal Pavilion at the park's Grand Army Plaza and the Lafayette Monument on the opposite end of the park. Central Park was designed by Frederick Law Olmsted and Calvert Vaux in 1858. The park was created for the first landscape contest in the U.S. Central Park is situated on 843 acres, which contains 150 acres of water bodies, 136 acres of woodlands, and 250 acres of lawn. It holds 21 playgrounds and 36 bridges. Central Park is centrally located on the island of Manhattan in New York City. Some buildings of note are the Dairy, the Arsenal, and the Loeb Boathouse. Some bridges and arches of note are the Bow Bridge, the Balcony Bridge, and the Gapstow Bridge. Some monuments and fountain of note are the Main Monument and Cleopatra's Needle, an Egyptian obelisk. Surrounding Central Park are mainly skyscrapers and tall apartment buildings. Many museums are located adjacent to the park, including the Museum of Natural History, the Metropolitan Museum of Art, Lincoln Center, and the Guggenheim Museum. A large reservoir is centrally located in the park. Central Park is described as one of the urban wonders of the world.
These 2 parks are similar in many ways. They both were designed by Frederick Law Olmsted and Calvert Vaux. Both contain several parks and recreational areas that encourage community interaction. Both parks have similar topography. They both have roads for cars to pass through them. Both have large zoos. They both have adjacent museums as well as centralized reservoirs with adjacent boathouses. Central Park and Prospect Park also have several differences. Prospect Park was designed in a way that created many smaller paths and roads that are weaved throughout the park, whereas Central Park is much more open and contains larger roadways for a higher amount of traffic. The location of Central Park is much more commonly passed area than Prospect Park. Central Park is more well known than Prospect Park, and Central Park is much larger than Prospect Park. In every direction one looks from within Central Park, there are surrounding high-rise buildings in sight. One rarely sees a building from within Prospect Park. The surrounding area is more residential than commercial, like Central Park.
We can relate both parks to some of the lectures that were discussed, such as study of play and recreations, architecture and skateboarding, the Corbusier's Contemporary City for 3 million inhabitants, and the Garden City. Homeludians, the study of play, the study of human at play. The parks create an oasis for recreation. The vast open area and playgrounds, the waterways, as well as the restaurant provides ample venues for human play and interaction. The discussion of architecture and skateboarding is relevant to the parks as they provide a plethora of venues and surfaces to express the skateboarder's freedom of choice. The various ramps, arches, and tunnels can be seen as much more than they literally are. Le Corbusier's idea in 1922 of a contemporary city for 3 million inhabitants. A tower park would incorporate housing in high-rise communities, expanding upwards so as to preserve land area. He thought it would bring one closer to nature and take up less space, because of the dictated larger open areas would be used for recreational uses, such as parks as well as transportation. Thus, the combination of communities and significance of large parks. This ideal city is present in both parks because they both incorporate a centralized park setting within a city. The Garden City is one of the most influential movements of the modern movement. Ebenezer Howard's idea of the central city was to have a centralized park surrounded by commerce, then housing and gardens, then a railway that wrapped around the city, followed by open land on the outskirts. Howard wanted to implement the three magnet theory, thereby solving urban overcrowding and population issues, which were bringing town and country into town-country. In conclusion, like Howard, Olmsted's idea was to create parks to preserve an open area within an urban setting, which would also alleviate congestion. This would also create opportunities for businesses to expand and commerce to thrive. Both Central Park and Prospect Park achieved this criteria.